Written Free Game. Salute to all the Patreon members, all the subscribers, all the new viewers. I want to thank you guys for your support. Really means a lot to me. If you could do me a favor, please check out the link for the Patreon page in the description box below. Now, I saw this video on social media earlier this morning, but somebody from Korea actually sent me the article. I didn't even bring it up. So, for those that don't know, I'm writing a fiction novel, and it takes place in Korea. So I've been speaking to a lot of Koreans in Korea over the last couple of weeks to make the dialogue in the book feel more authentic. All right. So there's a gentleman who lives in Incheon. Okay. He lives over by the airport that I've been speaking to for the last couple of weeks. And he hit me up today. He's like, hey, did you hear about the fight that happened in Australia? I was like, yeah. Then he sent me the article. And I'm like, what do you think? He said, I think it's a hate crime. And I told him, what makes you say it's a hate crime? Where in the article does it say this is a hate crime? So basically, his instinct was to say that it was a hate crime because the video starts off with a scuffle or a fight between some Korean men and some white men. At 3:00 in the morning, mind you, is Sydney, Australia. So the video, there's no buildup. It doesn't show the argument or the confrontation prior to the attack or the engagement. It's just in the middle of a fight. And so I had to tell him, I said, just because you see two groups of people fighting, and the groups of people fighting are of different races, doesn't make it a hate crime. It doesn't mean that it's racially motivated. All right. So let's read a little bit of the article, and then I'm going to give you more of my opinion. Disturbing video has shown a man being repeatedly hit with a hammer. There was a hammer. I don't know where they got the hammer. I'll just say, people of different races, they carry some of the weirdest things on them sometimes when they're walking around. I know there's strict gun laws over in Australia. You would think, okay, maybe this dude is packing a knife. No, he had a hammer. Footage filmed at the intersection of Liverpool Street and Pitt Street in Sydney about 3 a.m. So you got to keep that in mind. This is 3 a.m. Both parties are probably coming back from a nightclub, a bar, a house party. They're probably coming back, I'm assuming, from someplace where they were drinking. Maybe they were under the influence. Maybe they weren't under the influence. But at 3 a.m., what you doing outside walking around at 3 a.m.? It's not illegal. But like a lot of people say, there's nothing good that happens in the streets past midnight or 10 p.m. All right. One member of the group could be seen pulling a hammer from a bag and hitting one of the Korean men multiple times as the attack spilled out onto the road. Another man could be seen throwing punches at the head of one of the victims. Okay. So they were throwing punches. There was a hammer. I don't know. This guy looked like he's a time traveler from the 1980s. Officers were told 3 men aged 23, 28, and 29 were walking along Liverpool Street when they were approached by 3 unknown men before allegedly being assaulted. The unknown men then left the scene before the arrival of police. The 3 men were treated by NSW ambulance, paramedics at the scene. So here's the thing. Most people do not go out at 3:00 in the morning. Why? Because they have to go to work in the morning. There's nothing out there for them at 3:00 in the morning. And if they feel like there's something out there for them at 3:00 in the morning, people warn you about this also. They say, hey, don't stay out late because this right here could happen to you. Somebody could rob you. Somebody could SA you. Somebody could pull out a gun. Somebody could pull out a knife. Somebody who's probably under the influence could harm you for whatever reason. And like I said, I don't know if both parties were under the influence or if they were not under the influence. But most people could make that assumption. All right. This is why people tell you to stay out of the streets late at night to avoid this right here. So if nobody told you the race of the two groups of people, you would assume like, hey, damn, yeah, I mean, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, get home. That's what happens at 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. One of the alleged victims took to social media and said 2 days ago almost got killed with a hammer. I don't want to play the video. Sydney CBD clash escalates after a challenge to fight hammer allegedly used in the incident. A late night confrontation. Many viewers reacted online, calling the footage disgusting, and one even claiming Australia to be unsafe. I've never heard of that before. I always thought Australia was one of the safest countries in the world. Right? Not safer than places like Japan, obviously, but this is disgusting. The comments are disgusting. What the F is going on in this world? One said on Asian with Attitudes post. And I've been to this platform before, Asians with Attitudes. They're not objective. They're not objective at all. Australia is not good to live anymore. Another added, this is horrible. It has to be punishable. A third said, a fourth said, hit his head on the road, seriously bad, could have crippled him. Okay, so this guy, they had to translate what he was saying. Everyone is asking me why I didn't defend myself. Fighting is never a good thing. Guys, I'm okay. This situation is making me stronger. Watch me. I respect you all, and those criticisms will only make me stronger. Take good care of yourselves. So the reason why he's giving this statement is because people are pouring out on social media, assuming that this guy is the victim. Now, I don't know if he is or if he isn't. I'm going to give you not a theory, but I'm going to tell you my point of view in a second. All right. There's nothing wrong with defending yourself if you are a victim. You have a God-given right to defend yourself. So saying like, hey, I didn't defend myself because fighting is never a good thing. They had to translate what he was saying. So he probably is on a visa of some sort. There's a Korean community over in Australia. I remember when I changed my dating profile to Australia, there were a lot of Korean women that matched with me on that dating website from Australia. All right. But he might have been on a visa, some sort of student visa or work permit, and he's too worried about getting in trouble. I understand. I understand where he's coming from. It's like, okay, even if I am a victim and I'm on a visa, if I'm caught fighting, whether I'm in the right for defending myself, the government probably won't see that I was in a position where I was causing trouble, or I put myself in a position to invite violence and crime my way, and that could get me sent back home. I get it. The man who had filmed the attack said he had just returned from the gym when he saw the shocking scenes unfold. I was exhausted and saw multiple people around the convenience store. So my first instinct was to walk in the opposite direction and mind my own business. At the time, I assumed they were all friends, he said. I then heard one of the guys say, do you want to fight my friend? Later, I found out from multiple sources that the guy in the black shirt spoke very little English. So my assumption is that he said yes without really understanding what he was agreeing to. After that, the other guy kept pushing, saying, what, you want to fight my friend? And that's when everything went south. The man who goes by this on Instagram said he later found out one of the men involved is a mutual friend of his. I wish I had stepped in and tried to stop it, but like I said at the time, I thought they were all together. To everyone, if you're out with your friend, make sure to stay safe and stick close to each other. Look after one another. If you're in a store and a bunch of random people say hi, it's okay to just say hi and move on, yada, yada, yada. So that's what ended here. All right, let me put this back on here. Okay, so they said it wasn't just one person out there. It was about 3 people. It was more than one. I watched the video. From what I saw in the video, it looked like it was about 6 people out there. So I think 3 of them were Korean, 3 of them were Caucasian. Okay. It was about 2 or 3. I was looking at it again. It was about 2 or 3 Koreans or Asians, and then the other guys is about 2 or 3 Caucasians. They're saying that one guy didn't speak English. I'm not sure if the other guy spoke English or not. Out at 3 o'clock in the morning, still, it doesn't give anybody the right to attack you just because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. But I will say this, and it might come across the wrong way, but I just have to say it. Now, if the Korean gentleman, salute the scant dollar, if the Korean gentlemen were the victims, then, my apologies in advance. This is sad. It should not happen. But if the Caucasians were the victims and they were defending themselves, then shame on the Asian group, and I hope the Caucasian group is okay. All right. If the Koreans were the victims, shame on the Caucasians. If the Caucasians were the victims, shame on the Koreans. The reason why I'm saying this is, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a quick story, right? And let me say this before I tell this story. Most of the time when you see a fight on the internet, an altercation on the internet, and there's 2 different races of people, the majority of the people are going to side with one race more than the other. All right. There's no context. There's no buildup. There's no caption. They're just showing a fight. And it's the middle of a fight. They didn't show footage. There was no footage of these guys bumping into each other or meeting with each other outside of the store. All right. You don't know what was said. You don't know what happened. Most people automatically feel sorry for the Asian group, even though it seemed like they took an L this night. Just because a fight breaks out and you see somebody take an L, that doesn't mean they're the victim. You don't know what happened. All you can say is, hey, just in general, this is sad. I wish the world would just get along. All right. But you can't say, hey, those guys, because they're Caucasian and they're Asian, that automatically the people of Caucasian descent are in the wrong. You don't know what happened. There's a bunch of fight videos that come out of Thailand. All right. I used to live in Thailand. For those that don't know, I lived in Thailand off and on for 8 years. There's a bunch of fight videos that come out of Thailand. A Caucasian male and a Thai person. Usually the Thai person is much shorter and smaller, even though there are some tall Thais over in Thailand. Most of the time in, body mass and in height, the Thais are smaller than the people that they're fighting. And most of the time in these fight videos, they're Caucasian. And then there's a public outcry and a backlash against the Caucasians. And then they say, oh, these foreigners. And that includes you, anybody of any other race besides Thai, right? That includes you. You get lumped into whatever that quote unquote foreigner did, even if he's Caucasian, right? And that Caucasian person could be defending himself, but nobody cares. Nobody investigates. Nobody looks it up, right? They just automatically assume, okay, anything against an Asian person, that other person 9 times out of 10, they're in the wrong. And that is complete bullshit. All right. I'm not criminalizing any race. I'm not criminalizing Asian people. All right. But that's just the way the world spins. That's the way the world moves. If it's black and Asian and blacks lose, right, and it's the middle of a fight, it don't matter if the black people were just minding their business, coming back from school. If the blacks get jumped by a group of Asians, the world is going to say, yeah, get them N-words, fuck them up. We're tired of these N-words. It's about time we stand up for ourselves from these N-words. If it's Asian and Hispanics, they're going to feel sorry for the Asians. If it's Hispanics and whites, they're going to feel sorry for the Hispanics. If it's black and Hispanics, they're going to feel sorry for the Hispanics. If it's black and white, they're going to automatically feel sorry for white and everything in between. If there's no context, most of the time, people are just going to take a side. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to tell you a story. And this is a true story. This happened to me. All right. And some of y'all have heard me tell this story before. I used to live on the east side of Bangkok in a district called Bang Na. Okay. I used to live in a condo called the Niche Mono Condo in Bang Na. If y'all want to look it up, it's 2 words, Niche. The other word, mono, Mono, condo in Bang Na, Bangna, Bangkok. I used to live in those condos over there. Right across the street from those condos is Central Bang Na Mall. Okay. In order to get to Central Bang Na Mall from the Niche Mono condos, you have to walk up the street over to the bridge, and then you got to walk up on the bridge, walk across the bridge, and it'll take you right directly into the mall. All right. So one day I'm walking over to the mall. I'm walking on the main road trying to get to the bridge, right? I'm walking across the T intersection. A car just cuts me off and blocks me from walking across the road in the middle of the road. 2 guys get out. These guys were they were pudgy. There were some DJ Academics, pudgy built guys who got out of this car wearing plain clothing, pretending to be cops, telling me, give me your passport. And they're yelling and they're upset. So automatically, I'm cool. They're not a threat. I'm not scared. Like, all right, I know what's up. I'm going to play the little game, but I'm going to get them. I said, passport? Are you police officers? Yeah, we're police officers. Give me your passport. I said, well, here you go. Show me your badge. This dude opened up his wallet and showed me he showed me like a business card. I said, that's not a badge. You're not a cop. Yes, I am a cop. No, you're not. You're not a cop. Yes, I am a cop. Nah, you're not a cop. What do you want? We're going to check your visa. We're going to take this passport down to the station and we're going to check your visa. Why do you need to go to the station to check my passport? You could just check it right here and now. No, we got to look it up in the computer. All cops have a computer on them. You could just call it into the station. And you don't even need to do that. Just look for the stamp. All immigration cops know what they're looking for. No, we got to take this to the station. I'm like, okay, I'll pull out my phone. I start taking video footage of the car, the license plate, and them. When he saw me doing that, he was like, delete that, delete that. I said, no. Delete that. I'll delete it. You give me my passport back. Delete that. I said, look, if you're a cop, why don't we all go to the station? I'll bring this to the station with your license plate, your car, and your face, and we'll see if you're a cop. This man slowly handed me back my passport. When I reached out to get my passport, he jerked his hand back. I said, we can go to the station. So he slowly gives me back my passport. I grab my passport and he's tugging the passport away from me. It's like a little tug of war in my passport. I said, look, sir, we can go to the station. I got the pictures in the video. And he gave me back my passport. And I walked to the mall and I enjoyed my day. All right. So here's the thing. I was within the right to beat the shit out of both of them. All right. You know why? Because you're impersonating a cop. This is robbery. And I'm pretty sure there's some traffic law violations as well. blocking off an intersection or whatever. They weren't cops. Now, usually in Thailand and in Asia in general, if you're defending yourself and you're a foreigner, the law really isn't on your side. All right, the law isn't on your side. If you fight somebody, even if you're defending yourself, people are going to take a stance against you. You're going to get arrested anyway because you struck a citizen. In their mind, you should have just ran away and told the cops there's no reason for fighting, But let's say the law was, fair all across the board, right? Just pretend that we live in a world that the law was fair all across the board, especially in Thailand, and you can defend yourself if somebody's trying to rob you. If I would have been defending myself and I beat the shit out of both of them and somebody pulled out a phone and started recording, that video footage would have went viral. The world would have sided with those two Asian males, right? It would have been an N-word fest on the internet. Non-black podcasters would have had racial under and overtones in their segment about me, right? These little Instagram posts, they would have been shitting on me. Black content creators would have been shitting on me, especially people in the Passport Bro sector would have really been shitting on me. People in the Passport Bro sector would have shitted on me harder than people in the non-black sector, because most black content creators, especially, people who do reviews, people who are in the travel Passport Bro sector, people in the so-called red pill space, they brown nose for a lot of people in the dominant society, right? They think they're the good Negro, and they think they're the guard dogs, and they think they're above and better than anybody else, when really these are just Negroes who aren't objective at all, right? Signal boosting to people of non-African descent that, hey, I'm a good one, I'm not like them, and they're full of shit, right? Not objective. There's a bunch of people, especially in the travel sector, who aren't objective over anything. Y'all remember I did that live stream about what I think it was 2 black women over in Vietnam, and they were overcharged for their spa treatment that they got at the spa, some sort of whatever services they got at the spa. And they were like, fuck it, we'll pay it, but let me go to the ATM and then I'll pay you. Then they just started attacking them. And they started attacking them in the spa for no reason. It was 2 friends. One friend said, hey, you stay here, I'll go to the ATM and just pay them, F them, let's just go and get out of here, we'll never come back, leave a negative review, right? They're overcharging us. And then they got locked up, right? So, Asian Twitter, Asian Instagram, they had a field day with that. Had an N-word fest on social media because of that. Even the black content creator, there was one black content creator in particular who spoke on the subject, who spoke on the incident that happened. A very popular guy in the travel space. And he said, man, you see, I tell you, these bitches are broke. These black bitches be broke, and this is that and the third. They at ghetto and ratchet anywhere they go. That's not me. That's never been me. I'm the one who stood up for those women because I'm objective. It didn't matter what race they were, right? They weren't in the wrong. These people, they overcharge them. Sometimes, sometimes you got to go to the ATM. Your card doesn't work, right? The bank wants to make sure that this is you. There's international fees, right? You might not have the amount. You can only take out 20,000 baht at a time. or 40,000 baht at the time. You spent enough money. You thought it was going to be this because they told you this, then they overcharged you. Now I got to go to the ATM to get more, and then I'll come back. I'll leave this here or my friend here as collateral until I get back with the money, and then I'll pay you, and then we can go. But then while they were waiting, one of the staff started attacking the black woman, and then the black women get shamed and attacked for being ghetto, right? When it was the Asian women working there attacking them. But I've said this many, many times. When there's an altercation, there's a video, a picture, whatever, most of the time a video, and it involves an Asian and anybody else, everybody's going to side with the Asian group, right? And this isn't to criminalize Asians, but let's not act like, you know, there isn't a criminal class in that group of people. Well, there's a criminal class in all groups around the globe. When I was in Edmonton, when I used to live in Edmonton, there were Asian gangs that rolled deep into the club in Edmonton at Diesel. If anybody has been to Diesel in Edmonton, you know what I'm talking about. The Asians used to hang out on the right side because it's built like a square. Blacks were in the back. It was sort of a mixture by the bar because the bar was on the left when you walk in, and then on the right, it was nothing but Asians. That whole section was all Asian gangs. All right. Here in Houston, Texas, if you know anything about Houston, everybody knows that the Vietnamese, they run the little catalytic converter ring out here, stealing catalytic converters off of vehicles. If you hear somebody messing with your car outside, you go out there and it's an Asian person under your car trying to cut the catalytic converter off of your vehicle, you would not be in the wrong to beat the shit out of that person or pull a gun out on that person. Right? But if you decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to use my fist, and a neighbor pulls out their phone and records it, the world is going to say you're in the wrong. They don't care what might have transpired. Nobody looks to see, hey, before we jump to conclusions, let's make sure that, you know, let's make sure to find out who's the victim and who's the criminal, right? I'm not saying anybody that's Asian in this video is a criminal. I'm not even saying the white people were criminals. But I am going to say this, man. If I'm by myself and I'm not bothering anybody, I'm walking, I'm enjoying my day, I'm trying to have a good time, and you fuck with me, I got something for you. I'm going to protect myself. I have several weapons on me. And if you just start recording me using a weapon, trying to defend myself, what is the world going to say? Oh, man, these blacks, these N-words this, these N-words that. And the whole time, CCTV footage, not the cell phone, but the CCTV footage outside of the store showed the whole thing. Oh, damn, this dude was minding his business, and this white dude, Asian dude, Hispanic dude just wanted to fuck with him for no reason. And they pulled out a hammer. And then the brother put out a knife, a gun, pepper spray, whatever, to defend himself. That's just the way the world goes. All right. So the guy, the Korean guy who sent me this, I said, okay, what happened? Tell me what happened. Oh, it was a hate crime. Tell me what happened. These guys just started beating them up for no reason. No, tell me what happened. What led up to it? Why did they start, quote unquote, beating them up for no reason? I don't know. Exactly. You don't know. And I'm like, I'm not targeting you. This isn't a personal attack against you. But most people are assuming that the Caucasians, men, they just in the wrong, and nobody did an investigation. Nobody found out. Now, if it comes out they're in the wrong, then fuck them. They're in the wrong. They should be arrested. But if you don't know, why is it okay? We're automatically going to assume, okay, these are Asians. They're protected class. they don't do any harm to nobody, and you fucking with them, you're in the wrong. Dude, they might have been defending themselves. These white dudes might have been defending themselves. All right. I almost had my passport stolen from me, robbed right in front of my face. Would I have been in the wrong for defending myself to get my passport back? No. All right. Remember, the brother who was in Pattaya, who had a knife pulled out on him, this woman was seriously trying to kill him. She was trying to stab him. And my theory was he met her, and like most black men that go to the club in Asia, they want to know, okay, are you a sex worker? If you are, I can't deal with you, right? You're not a sex worker? Okay, we like each other. Why don't you come by my place? Women lying up front talking about they're not a sex worker. You hung out all night with this dude. This dude had the stamina of a goddamn machine. Fucked you 8 times last night. You like, damn, a bitch needs something now. A bitch need compensation now. And the brother, I felt, probably said, hey, you told me you weren't a sex worker. No, I'm not giving you no money. And she grabbed a knife, or she pulled a knife out of her bag and attacked him with it. And guess what black men did? Black men laughed at him. Black men in Thailand laughed at him because those black men got on camera on the internet and found her in the club and started joking with her, started taking selfies with her, was hanging out with her. Guys on the internet was laughing at him. Y'all were laughing at him. This proves my point again. Anything that has to do between an Asian person and a black person, everybody 9 times out of 10, they're going to side with the Asian person and give them a pass. When this woman clearly, that was attempted murder. All right. If the roles were reversed, if it was a black woman and an Asian man, they would have felt sorry for the Asian man. They would have said, man, you should have taken the knife from her and stabbed her. But since it's the other way around, man, look at these passport bros here, fucking up again overseas. How is he messing up overseas? This man is a victim. He's clearly getting attacked. Well, we don't know what happened. Same here. Same thing in this situation. We don't know what happened. But until we get the details, you can't say, hey, man, this is Asian hate right here. It's a hate crime. How do you know it's a hate crime? Dude, when I was in China, when I was in Asia, in China, if you go into an establishment, you go into the restroom and there's like a long line of urinals, man, you know how many times like dudes would take a piss in the urinal right next to me so they can look over and try to look at my dick? I would go off on people about that. It got to the point where I'm like, man, I'm using the stall from now on. In Thailand, China, you know how many people, Korea, you know how many people, how many men told me I was handsome? That doesn't give grounds to hurt anybody, but it's like we're having a conversation. Man, I don't even give off that vibe like that for you to be saying that. But to them, that means something else, right? That's not a crime, right? But sometimes you can say something, do something that gets taken the wrong way and somebody's upset, right? Jabril Agoro, he said that somebody in Chiang Mai, who was that? Passport, I forgot his new channel name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Passport Heavy, I think that's his new channel name. He says somebody sack tapped him in Chiang Mai. Some dude said, "Hey man, you black. I know you got a big one." And he started like kind of groping him in his ball area, like kind of touching his dick, tapping him, talking about, "Yeah, I know you got a big one." He's not in the wrong. He didn't do it, but would he be in the wrong for punching that dude in his shit, for touching him in his no-no spot? No, he wouldn't have been in the wrong. But had that been recorded, everybody would have, everybody, the world, it would have went viral, and the world would have shamed Jabril and would have sided with that Asian person. And that's how race relations play in America. Somebody trying to steal from you, somebody trying to steal your catalytic converter, right? Somebody trying to steal your passport, somebody trying to steal your manhood, somebody trying to steal your money, somebody try to steal, something that you earn, and you're not allowed to defend yourself, because if this comes out, everybody's going to say you're in the wrong. Why? Because it's somebody of a different race. And then the follow-up to the crime, let's say they let's say they arrest the Asian guys and let the white guys go. That's not going to be louder than this. The follow-up isn't going to be louder than the initial video. It never is. All right. There was another case when there was an African dude. I mean, this happened many times in China, but there was an African dude. He was going to university. I think he was getting his master's or something like that. And he met another Chinese woman at school. She was very cute, very pretty. The dude kind of looked like Project Pat, tall, dark-skinned dude. And he was dating a very pretty Chinese girl. And the classmates at the school, other attendees at the school, other students at the school, they didn't take a liking to it. What is she doing with a black man? What is she doing with some African? So it was males and females got together to go jump this dude, and they were going to jump the girl also, because that happens. That happens in China, right? A mob of people will not only attack you for being with her, they'll attack her for choosing you. And he was defending his lady. They came through with weapons too. He was defending himself, his lady. One of the guys, he punched him in the mouth, knocked his teeth out, and he was trying to fight them all so that she can escape and get away. They end up arresting the African, taking away his passport, and then charging him with the crime, even though he was defending himself. Right? Just like another case. What's that brother's name from Michigan? That football player who had to do like 4.5 years over there for defending himself. He was at a nightclub, and some Chinese dude threw a bottle at his head. And he defended himself. You know how hard that hurts? You know how hard that is, somebody throwing a bottle at your head in the club? I forgot his name. He defended himself. He had to do 4.5 years behind that. Another case, I told y'all this story before. There was in Beijing, there was a French guy and a Chinese woman walking through Sanlitun. That's the foreign district. And there was some guy outside with a sword. I'm like, how come nobody arrested him or said anything to this guy? That's a very busy area. He sees them two walking by, and he says in Chinese, like, "Hey, are y'all together?" So they both looked at him, okay, he crazy, let's keep walking. He said in Chinese, like, "Hey, is that your husband?" They just kept walking. That dude went up behind that woman and stabbed that woman with that sword. And he got arrested. She ended up dying. He got arrested. Right? Now, would that Frenchman would have been in the wrong to beat the shit out of him for stabbing his wife with a sword or taking the sword and offing him with that sword? No, because he's defending himself, right? If you did that to her, ain't no telling what you're going to do to me. I can't run because my wife is here injured, dying. But if there were video footage of all this that I just told you about, the world would have said, okay, this white man, this African man, they're in the wrong. I've noticed that over the years. All right. Anyways, I'm over and I'm out. You guys be safe. I got another video, so don't go nowhere. I'm gonna do a review on the influencer, Asian woman who lost 140,000 followers because her filter glitched. All right, so don't go nowhere. Peace.